that they are changing my voice. One of many ways that you know that I'm telling the truth has to do with how the government and the corporations have changed videos and music and entertainment and sports, etc. over the years. Okay, we've seen people look more like, frescoes, artwork in Greece and Rome, right? The kind of fairy angel way about them. Okay, we see them look more like Power Rangers, Powerpuff Girls, cartoon characters. We've seen them kind of express the signs of being controlled by sex cults. We see that nearly 2/3 of young males are single and females are dating older people. So older people are meddling with things and they're making a mess of things. There's no other way to look at it. And you know that some people value their lifestyles and their way about them, etc., more than others. So some people are resisting. If we look carefully, we know there must be stuff in the food and the air. How? How do we know that for sure? For sure. Not speculation, but proof positive. We know that because of the changes that people have made. We don't just see it in the younger generation. We see it in people my age, in their 40s, in their 50s, in their 60s. They look different. They look different than their parents did at their age. Okay, in certain ways, they give it away. They look like Ren and Stimpy, Pinky in the Brain, compared to their parents. Why? Because a bunch of gay nerds, mostly whites and Jewish people, no offense to anybody, it's not racism, just the truth, have changed the way people look. A bunch of white supremacists in social clubs and English royals and governing class people who try to look more serious and manly than other people have changed the way they look to try to feign the supremacy of white culture. Now you got to ask yourself, do we see this in the history of American philosophy, in the history of Western philosophy, in the history of the Western philosophy and all the philosophies that they've kind of spread to the world? Yes. We see it in Manifest Destiny. We see it in expansionism. We see it in continentalism. We see it in the current American propaganda as well. The nation building. We see it in the idea of spreading America's values. It isn't the first time in history that America wanted to spread its values. This is like what America was founded to do by the West. Okay? Why there was colonies in the first place, and the English and all these other people never gave up their global aspirations. Pretty straightforward. They say spread their freedoms. So you're free to be dumb. Look at the Bible, for example. There's 20,000 denominations in America alone. 20,000. If this book is infallible and it's the Word of God, why are so many Christians misbehaving in a way that's clear-cut? And the rest are basically misbehaving in a way that's a little more subtle. They're basically all clearly misbehaving these days. All Christians, Muslims, Jews, every group you can think of. It failed to change the people in their environment, and it failed to change them. And they disagree on what it's saying. You compare that to my 4 or 5 page book. My book does a much better job of making it crystal clear what right and wrong is, and that you have no excuse for your misbehavior. It's a matter of discipline. If you were goofing off in martial art class, you'd be punished. If you're goofing off in military school, you'd be punished. If you're goofing off in reform school, you'd be punished. But magically, a Christian's allowed to stray from a course of discipline, and he just has to say a prayer and has faith, and that's it? Rubbish. Can you imagine if you were in the military and you're acting like a goofball instead of following orders? It would not be tolerated, right? You go to the brig, you get punished. In some places, you get executed. Historically, depending on the offense. So we know for sure that Western philosophies are failing us. Now, even if you're the most proud to be a Western person, a person who's the most proud to be a Westerner there ever was, That's no excuse for not accepting the truth and saying, what can we do about this? Well, first of all, you got to ask yourselves, why are Westerners so unhappy compared to other people in the world? There are people much poorer than people in the West, and they tend to be happier when they did the study. You got to ask yourselves, are your values worth spreading? Are you living a moral and worthwhile life? How come I'm more content with my life while I'm targeted, while the masses of Americans who aren't targeted are miserable? 50,000 plus people committing suicide every year. And quite often, it's not because they went broke or something. And they certainly didn't do it to be a martyr, like someone lighting themselves on fire to make a political statement. Or if they drove me crazy into suicide one day, it's not the same thing. The die is cast. My life is greater than theirs. My values are greater than theirs. My teachings are greater than theirs. The proof is in the pudding, as they say. Is that one of your common Western sayings? And yes, many times in my videos and otherwise every day I find myself thanking God that I did it my way and not theirs. Everywhere I go, when I go to San Jose, Morgan Hill, Gilroy, you name it, Santa Cruz once in a long time, San Francisco, I say thank God I'm doing it my way, not theirs. And some people are from other states, they're from the South, or from other countries. I've contacted hundreds of thousands of people on the internet over the years, seen countless videos. I said, thank God I'm doing it my way and not any of theirs. Because yes, I know best. I don't know everything. Nobody knows everything. But I know best. I am the best, on the best path, in the best state of mind, who's the best man for any woman who's not in my family, etc. There's no other way to look at it. There's no other way to analyze it and to be honest about your analysis than to work the angles and to look at what the logical assumption is, the logical conclusion, the sound conclusion is. And that's what it is. There's people whose job it is to look at this case and to study it carefully, and they have no viable counterargument. People went to nice colleges. People in the military have been trained to do these things. People in law enforcement, behavior analysis units, or whatever units they're in, scientific units. They have no viable counterargument. They have resources. They can reach out to professors and stuff like this, and they still got nothing because I'm right. And so when we look at this also in terms of art, and I'm going to have to make a video about this. This was the original topic, okay? You see, martial arts. What is the art? First of all, a lot of people aren't good at art. A lot of black people aren't good at art. Drawing and da-da-da. That's not what we're talking about here. Drawing and sculpting, these are just specific forms of art that over the years are very much done by whites and Jews, some Asians. A lot of black people, not so much. These are specific forms. These aren't the master forms. Martial arts in sparring is the master form of art. The conveyance of righteousness in sparring is the master form. It's not how it looks. That's subjective to some degree. Some degree is universal kind of commonalities, but it's subjective to some degree. It's what it actually is. What is that? Can you make a drawing and say it's better, it's more artistic than the sun? That's preposterous. Can you draw a flower and make it more beautiful than the most beautiful flower? No. Neither can you one-up the righteousness that comes from God through my technique, which is greater than all other techniques. The technique of the leopard is superior to the hunting technique of the dog. The technique of the falcon is superior to the technique of the pigeon. And so it is the top martial artist ever technique is superior to all their techniques. They disgrace themselves to the extreme, trying to pretend otherwise. Should racist gay people try to coach me from behind the scenes and try to take my credit? No, that just hinders my progress. And so it is with everyone else too. It is impossible for someone else to teach me martial arts. It's impossible. All they're doing is wasting my fucking time. They can teach me how to tie my shoes, how to make a fist. They can teach me their ways a little bit, but expect me to follow it and expect to be my master? You must have lost your fucking mind. Okay, so for anyone who thinks that it was too harsh, take a good look at the screen and ask yourself, what are the cultures in the West? What are jocks? What are rockers? What are metalheads? What are emos? What are goths? What are rappers? I'm going to make a video, I'm probably going to put it after this, where I'm going to compare a rapper to a metalhead to help you understand why I hung out with the people that I did when I was younger. There's a difference between moving masterfully like a gangster with a higher cause, and of course you shouldn't be a gangster, mind you, and being a rock and roll person who directly worships the devil. There's no higher cause. They're just, deceiving people into just being Satanists, and then they're Satanists openly,